have to give you a little bit of top here because my shirt's a little revealing. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is October 1st. Oh my gosh, how many days do we have until 2019 is over? Holy crap, where did the year go, right? Crazy how time flies by. Yes, so I wanted to talk to you today about traumas. A lot of us have been through some traumas in our life, and there's some confusion on how to get past that, how to get over that, how to get through that. And I wanted to dive deep into that because this really is, when you talk about traumas, it's more than just the dramas, right? It's something that is really, you got to really dive deep into it, and you got to be ready to dive deep into it and face everything that comes with healing the traumas that you've been through. Earlier this year, I did, hey, Stephanie and Wendy and Russell, I'm waving if it'll allow me to. Earlier this year, I did a weekend conference. It was an online weekend conference called Healing Narcissistic Trauma. I believe that's what the name of it was. And I interviewed 8 experts in how to heal from the trauma in your life. And I know myself from being in several traumas in my life and coming through them, coming out of them. And, you know, everybody has their own view of success. To me, I feel like I've successfully come out of that because I live a life on my terms. I live happy now. I don't have nightmares. I don't have any very little residual crap from what I've been through. So let me just give you a little glimpse of what that looks like so you can relate to what I'm talking about and how you can get some clarity on healing the trauma, right? Okay, so during my 22-year relationship, my marriage, the father of my children, there were a lot of traumas. And when you're going through that, you don't realize what's actually happening. You're just like, whoa, this is some fucked up shit, right? You don't really grasp the level of severity of what's going on. And I didn't either. And a lot of it, so in chapter 3 in my book, Empower the Woman Within, a lot of it I don't even remember because of the level of trauma that I had gone through. So what I could remember is what I wrote in the book. Chapter 3, the longest chapter in my book, Empower the Woman Within, because I wanted to give the reader, you the reader, a glimpse into what that looked like, what my world looked like at that time. So the first trauma that I remember, the biggest trauma that I had gone through was in 2008. This was when the housing market had crashed, and like the pressure on life was weighing on my life, my marriage, my relationship, yada, 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 yada. And my then husband had attempted to take his life with our 14-year-old daughter in the next room. So this was me, it's a long story, but I'll give you the short version, the bullet points. This was me asking for a divorce. Not that this was the cause of it. This was like the icing on the cake. And me going to the store with my son and coming home to this trauma, coming home to my daughter hysterically crying, calling 911. My then husband had shot himself, so there was blood on the floor and there was blood everywhere, and dragging him out of the room. That's what my daughter did, dragged him out of the room, and on the phone with 911. And I specifically remember this because this is how our brain works. When I walked into the house, into the room, and saw this bloody mess, my first thought was, for whatever reason, because I know he has guns, my first thought was he stabbed himself. I guess in my mind, it felt a little bit better that there was a knife involved instead of a gun. I don't know, but I remember specifically that I thought he stabbed himself. And instead of me going into hysterics, like, oh my God, what happened? And crying, I was instead pissed off. And I was calling him crazy and just thinking like, what the fuck? And I just repeated that over and over, like, what the fuck? And I'm following the blood trail into the bedroom, like, what the fuck? This is crazy, right? And so my mind went into protective mode because I had to stay calm in that moment to get a hold of the situation at hand. My 14-year-old daughter was had her dad in her lap. So that was one trauma that led to a series of others after that, because, that's just like the beginning of what's happening. And then there was another one that happened in 2011, I believe, where, again, there was drugs involved, and it turned into, long story short, my then husband going cold turkey off of a medication that you have to wean yourself off of. There's a lot of self-medicating involved in this. And when you go cold turkey, it leads to psychosis, hallucinations, things like that. And that's what happened. And so there was 5 days, if I remember correctly, 5 days of hallucinations. Again, I wasn't scared. My mind was protecting me. I wasn't thinking, this is going to be murder-suicide type of thing. Although I should have thought that way, I didn't. And so that led to another hospital event, another, psychosis and psych ward and all of that. It was again. And so when you go through these traumas, see, here's the thing. Here's the part that I want you to get. When you go through traumas like this, or any trauma in your life, there's always, just like when we lose somebody that we love, and in the grieving process, there's these waves, and there's this process that you have to go through to get to the next level, to get to the next step. It's really the same process. You have to first look at what happened and really feel the emotions of what you've been through, right? Acknowledge those emotions, what you've been through. Because yes, you've been hurt. Yes, you've been disappointed. Yes, you've gone through something traumatic that nobody should ever hear, see, or do. Yes, so you want to let your body and your mind process that as, okay, this is what happened. Because on a deeper level, you guys, when you look at the past, it really is now just a story. And you have to be at a certain level to actually accept what I just said. But everything in our life we're living a dream, right? This is a dream. And we're a spiritual body and a physical plane. And we have to look at the past as that was then, this is now. I'm not in that fight or flight mode anymore, right? I'm not crying myself to sleep anymore. I'm not in that situation anymore. And when you separate what was then to what is now, that helps you calm the body and calm yourself to think, I'm safe now. That is no longer my truth. That was my truth then when I was in it, but it is no longer my truth now. I'm out of that now. Right? So that's step one in you healing the traumas that you've been through. So there's this amazing book that I highly recommend to anybody. It's called The Mastery of Love. It's by Don Miguel Ruiz. And in the book, he explains so well how the life that we live in this physical plane is just a dream. And the way he explains it, it helps so much to think like, okay, what I went through was the past and now this is now, what I just explained to you, right? I wish I could explain it as well as he does. As many times as I've read the book, I should be able to. But that's step one in you healing it. Just, look at it as it's the past. This is now. I'm in a safe place. Yes, process those feelings. Definitely honor yourself to process those feelings. You deserve that. Okay? Because what we do with our emotions is we deny, we resist. We're like, no, I can't cry right now. That, I'm too busy. I have the kids to take care of. I have this, I have that. And what you're doing is you're denying yourself the emotions that need to be processed, need to come up. I call them, they come up and out, right? That's how you process them. That's how you up and out. Let it out. So you can let it out, by crying, screaming, Also journaling. Journaling is a great way to let these emotions come up and out. Write a letter to yourself of who you were back then, or write a letter to somebody that hurt you, pained you. You're not going to give it to them. This is for you. And then you rip that letter up, you burn it, whatever. You get rid of it. So those are some of the tips that I give to you for healing the past traumas. Here's another one. Don't think that you have to live in this forever. Everything in life is a choice. If you choose to live in that story forever, like I could choose to live in 2008 and what happened forever. I could live that story over and over and over again if that's what I choose for myself. But I chose a different path. I chose to go, no, that was then, this is now. I'm going to let the past go and I'm going to move on. And because I did that, choice after choice after choice, this is the life that I have now. This amazing life that I have now with freedom and loving relationships, healthy relationships. Everything is a choice in life. So it's up to you to say, I no longer choose that, to relive that. I'm not choosing that for myself anymore because I deserve better and I want more from my life. It really is just a choice. You simply make a choice of this is what I want now. I no longer want to live in the past. I no longer want to keep that story alive. Here's the thing about traumas is that when we talk about it, we breathe life into it and we keep it alive. And you don't, I don't know if you saw the post a couple months ago, I had a 71-year-old client who she 7 years ago had this medical incident. And for 7 years, she was keeping this story alive. And it only took 3 sessions, 3 sessions together for her to energetically dissolve that story. That's all it is. Again, it was a choice she made. 7 years, I'm tired of this. I want to dissolve this story. How can I do that? I helped her with that. And 7 years of her she had chronic diarrhea, gone. Just gone. And even when I got on the call with her and she told me this, I was like, what? Holy crap. That is amazing. I was, wow. And the only thing that I did for her was show her how she was breathing life into that story and how every time she told that story energetically, she was keeping it up and alive. And all she had to do was let that story go. And so we did a series of exercises together, and that's all she had to do was to let that story go. And once she let that story go energetically, she no longer had the symptoms that kept showing up for her. That's really all it is. It all boils down to a choice. What do you choose for yourself? Do you choose to keep living in the traumas and dramas of your life because you're going to keep recreating that for yourself? Or do you choose to say, you know what, I'm worth more, I deserve more, and I am going to let this go. Show me how to let this go. Show me how to stop breathing life into the past so I stop recreating it. Everything in life is a choice. It all comes down to choice. Again, I could sit here and talk to you all day about all the injustices that happened to me during my 22-year marriage, and I can sit here and cry and blah, 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 blah. But what is that? I'm hurting me. And that's what you do for yourself. You hurt you when you keep recreating that person did this to me, or that situation did that to me. So, the biggest piece to all of this, yes, you have to make a choice. You have to look at it as, that's the past, this is now. I'm safe now. I'm no longer in fight or flight. And also you have to forgive. You have to forgive yourself for what you've put yourself through. And you have to forgive the other people for what they did to you. Again, when you look at it as a dream, this is a dream, then it eases that, and you can easily forgive other people. I had to do a lot of forgiving. I still do forgiving on myself. I had to forgive my ex for blah, 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 blah. I carried a lot of guilt because I stayed in the marriage. And because I stayed in the marriage, my kids saw and heard and went through things that no child should ever have to go through. And that was on me. And I had to work through that guilt. Because here's the thing about guilt. It is the lowest emotion that we have. The lowest. It's at the bottom. You don't want to stay there. So how do you rise up out of that? One of the pieces is forgiveness. So thank you for watching, everybody. Let me give some waves. Hi, Marlene. Hi, Michelle. And all right, Vendra. Okay, so I am so honored that you get on my lives and listen to what I have to say. Sometimes I just ramble. I just get an idea of traumas. If the universe is showing me something that I need to talk about, that's what I'll do. I'll just pop on here and give you that. If you are ready to up-level your empowerment, if you want to let go of the past hurts, the past relationships, then I invite you to send me a message and we will coordinate a time where we can talk and see if it's a fit and that I can help you. So it's as simple as that. Remember, ladies, it's just a choice that you make for yourself. Are you ready to let go of the past and the past hurts? Are you ready to create a life that you actually want to wake up to? Are you ready to have healthy relationships all around you? Are you ready to let go of all of the crap that was done to you? Or do you still want to hold on to it? It's up to you. And of course, I love you either way. All right, everybody. Talk to you later.